The accountant role is changing rapidly, and it's vital that you stay ahead of the curve. Offshoring, AI, and new regulations are reshaping the profession faster than anyone expected. But this is good news if you are well prepared. So in this video, I'm going to walk through the big shift happening in the accounting profession at the moment and exactly what you can do about it to avoid being left behind. If you're new to the channel, my name's Callum. I'm a chartered accountant here in London, UK, and I make videos for accountants and aspiring accountants looking to future-proof their career. If that sounds of interest to you, be sure to subscribe and let's dive right into the topic. So what is this big shift going on in the accounting world? Well, to put it in one word, it's automation. And this is being driven by two key things. The first being artificial intelligence, or AI, and the second being offshoring. Now, the landscape of accounting firms is as competitive as it ever has been. Private equity investment and various acquisitions are taking place, are driving the need for firms to be efficient, needing to both cut costs and ensure their prices remain competitive. And really, automation is one way of doing this. This really boils down to the data entry, manual style tasks like the reconciliations, the simple tax preparation, possibly even some of the ticking and bashing audit style tasks. By automating some of these tasks, firms are effectively allowing employees to be utilized in other areas, which can be higher value added and allow firms to charge a higher fee. Typically, these are more judgmental areas of accounting, and those which really require a specialist skill set. Historically, these entry-level roles have typically done the manual style tasks and have really had an emphasis on learning by doing. Now, increasingly, if firms are opting to use artificial intelligence or offshore some of this work, this may start to break the traditional roles that new accountants would be doing, allowing them to focus on other areas. It's pretty clear, and I've talked about this in other videos, but AI with some basic inputs can do a lot of these routine tasks in seconds as opposed to hours in which it may have taken a new employee to do. Then there's also the offshoring and outsourcing aspect of the role, where firms are realizing that a lot of the tasks done by junior employees can be outsourced to cost centers in other countries, whether that's as part of the same business or to external third parties, to do this work at a cheaper price, effectively. And obviously that all ties back into the efficiency we just spoke about, where firms are needing to be more competitive on their prices and ultimately try and cut costs wherever possible, which can really reshape and redefine the tasks that new accountants may need to be doing. So what does the new accountant role look like, or what will it start to look like? You can think of it like a financial analyst and advisor combination, someone fluent with automation and different AI tools, who knows how to use these automation strategies to free up their own time so they can focus on other things. But also someone who is able to interpret these outputs and really understand them, and then apply them to specific situations for their client to add value. This new accountant needs to be client-facing, commercial, and proactive. A hybrid of an accountant, a data professional, and a business partner, which really demands a lot of people, particularly new starters who are just getting involved in their training. And it's not to say that these people are going to be thrown into the deep end to do all this stuff, but we may see a shift in terms of the work being done by newer employees. Ultimately, there are tasks that are not going away, and these are really around where judgment needs to be applied, interpreting the numbers and knowing what matters. Accountants are no longer just hired for their backwards-looking, compliance nature, but a business wants actionable insights. They want to know how this past data is going to impact the future and what they can do about it in the now. Automation is going to help do that, but there's always going to be a level of judgment and interpretation around that. For example, if we look at advisory work with the likes of cash flow forecasting or pricing strategy, all more difficult and judgmental areas that are difficult to automate or use AI for in this current form it's in. It is going to be interesting as to how AI and the work done offshore is going to change in the coming years. Maybe it will shift to more judgmental areas and we'll have to adapt even further. But just being knowledgeable of where it's currently at and beginning to think about some of the skills that you might need to develop going forward is going to help your career out massively. I can really see these skills developing in 3 key areas. The first being AI and data literacy. So being comfortable with AI tools, whether that's the like of ChatGPT or Copilot, and knowing the various prompts that you can use and how they can apply to your day-to-day role, but also being fluent in Excel and its data analytic abilities, along with some of the cloud accounting automations that are out there, just sort of dabbling your toes in each one and getting familiar with what they can do and what they can't do. And there's a ton of great content out there on YouTube and free and cheap courses that can teach you some of these things, but I'm sure a lot of the firms that you may join or that you're in also have their own training that you can look into. So definitely worth seeing what's out there and what can currently be done. The next key skill is the analytical thinking. And I really see this going from a what do the numbers look like to a what do the numbers actually mean. This is what firms desperately need from their new accountants. It's the ability to interpret these figures and apply them to specific situations. That really adds value and ultimately is what a client will want to see and what they want to pay for. Finally, communication skills. Being able to take complex accounting topics and figures and variances and turn it into actionable insights that possibly a non-accountant will understand. Because you've got to remember that not everyone is a trained accountant, not everyone is a chartered accountant. Such a key skill is being able to make information easily understandable. So doing the work, do the analysis, but turning those insights into easily understandable and actionable insights. I really think this is a skill that takes some time to build and one that you will gradually improve as your career progresses, but it's one to start thinking about earlier on and just being aware of. So what does all this mean for aspiring accountants? You won't necessarily spend years anymore doing the mundane data entry style work, and you'll start to get client exposure a lot quicker and earlier on in your career. Your career is definitely going to move at a faster pace, but the expectations may be a little higher. You'll be able to apply judgment from an earlier stage, which does make the role a lot more interesting as opposed to just following instruction. And I really think those that can embrace this change are going to progress and see pretty quick growth. It's interesting to see where it's all going, and I'm going to be paying close attention to it. I've spent an awful lot of time reading into this and doing my chartered accounting training. So I'm excited to see where this all goes, because we're in a very interesting time in our lives and in our accounting journeys. So I hope you found this video insightful. Don't forget to subscribe and also to join the Future-Proof Accountant newsletter, which is completely free. And I've linked in the description below. And with that, I'll see you in the next video.